So share a little bit more about who Harlan Boyles was as a person.
Harlan Boyles was the state treasurer. He was treasurer for 24 years. However, before that, he was deputy treasurer to Mr. Gill, Ed Gill.
Right.
And what had happened, Harlan had polio as a kid. When he was 15, he came down with polio, and it affected his legs. And he was in an iron lung in Hickory for some time. And as a result of that, he could not get on the school bus. And so his parents sent him to a private school for underprivileged children at Crossnoe.
Mm-hmm.
And he had never thought that he might go to college one day. But his teachers at that school recognized his ability and kept saying, Harlan, you need to make something out of yourself. You know, you can do something other than... His father had a little one-room country store where he sold Cokes for a nickel and a loaf of bread for 3 cents or something like that. Yeah. And Harlan had grown up thinking, well, you know, one day maybe my father will let me run the store. That was his life's plan in those early years. But at that school, his teachers recognized his ability, and so they suggested he go to college. And that's in Western North Carolina. I grew up in Western North Carolina.
Right.
Those people are better friends with the people of Eastern Tennessee
Right.
than they are Eastern North Carolina. So he ended up going to Tennessee for a while, and he was so lonely, his parents weren't there, and he finally transferred to Carolina. And with his handicap situation, he actually could walk around with crutches. And I remember Betty McCain, who was with him at Carolina, said that he could go up a 3-flight pair of stairs quicker than she could on those crutches, and she was very impressed with that. And in choosing a career, he had to choose one that didn't involve a lot of mobility. So he became an accountant, and he got a CPA degree. And he was the first treasurer that had a certified public accountant status, and that was good. But his predecessor and his mentor, Ed Gill, was a very strict, no-nonsense type of person. He got into the trouble once when the governor at that time proposed a major road building program, and Mr. Gill came out against it and said, we can't afford $50 million of debt. Well, it passed anyway. And then later Mr. Gill said, well, I was wrong. That's a good thing for North Carolina. But Harlan was his understudy.
Gotcha.
And actually did much of his work during the 24 years he was deputy treasurer. So he was in that position pretty much.
So he knew the job when he got the job.
For a half century. And then it was interesting. He said, I asked him in preparation for the book, I said, how did you choose this career? He said, well, when I graduated, I had 3 offers. And one was in a private business in Charlotte, one was somewhere else. And it was the Department of Revenue, which Mr. Gill headed at that time. And he went to work there. And he said, I wanted a stable job where I was going to be sure that I wouldn't ever have to put myself at risk. And of course, there's no greater risk than running for a statewide office.
Yes.
And he was reelected each time that he ran. And I've never known a public official that had more respect from the people that he worked with and served than Harlan Boyles, because he was incredibly honest and consistent, and and he treated everybody like the people that worked with him, the janitor, he called him an associate. And everybody that worked with him loved him.
That's wonderful.